Welcome to your Bestie in Freight, the podcast where we dive in the world of logistics, freight brokerage, and everything in between. I'm your host, Lida, and I'm here to bring you real stories, actionable advice, and insights from industry experts who know what it takes to succeed in this fast paced world of logistics. So today I'm excited to welcome a guest who is nothing short of powerhouse in freight industry within over 7 years of experience. They have managed a network of 4,000 trucks across USA and Canada, worked with over 100 major clients and moved over 8,500 shipments in the last few years. So please welcome Vince, an account manager at Oasis Freight Transport and a seasoned expert in freight brokerage. I can't wait to dive into your journey, strategies, and how you have been mastering balancing growth with operation excellence. So, Vince, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Lida. Happy to share whatever I can. It's a pleasure.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
great. So, can you please share your background in logistics and how you got started in the freight industry?
Awesome. So I graduated college in Oregon in 2017 with my MBA and accounting degree, and that was going to be my path into accounting, be a CPA, taxes, audit, that whole thing. And I worked for two companies, and I just wasn't feeling very fulfilled. Like my skills weren't being utilized 100%. So at the end of 2017, I wanted something different. So here in Washington, I have an uncle who grew a flatbed business to 12 trucks,
Okay.
and he did it from 1995, and he finally sold all of his trucks in 2018, 2019. So you can imagine with that many years of of running a company, you have quite a few clients, right? Here in the Northwest, he specialized in heavy haul flatbed. So
Nice.
this is shipments over 60,000 pounds, 65,000 pounds, 70,000 pounds. And so that was his niche, right? His son and I were our best friends. We were the same age. So we talked hours and hours on end about the future. What can we do to grow? What can we do to make obviously make money and have a successful career, right? And meet our goals and everything. And after 6 months of just thinking and thinking, we got together and we talked to his dad about, hey, why don't we open up a brokerage? Why don't we use your clients and go all over the U.S. with those clients, right? And expand, what the operation is currently.
Nice.
So at the end of 2017, I had just had a baby. I just bought my first duplex to move into one side. I quit my job, and I said I have to make this work. No
I'm
choice.
going all in, right?
I'm going all in. No choice but to succeed.
Yes, I think that
Yeah.
is the most
Yeah.
exciting moment. Like it is the most scariest, but like I have heard so many stories like that. You go all in and like you don't have any plan B, right? You need to make it work, the plan A.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no going back. You just had a baby. You're in a new place. It kind of worked out because my W-2 income allowed me to get the house, or to get the property.
Yes,
And I was living really cheap. I mean, it was costing me $400 a month to live in that property because of the
nice.
tenant on the other end. So I was living cheap.
Yes,
I set myself up well, just in case I didn't make a lot of money right away.
yes,
And then it's kind of just been history from there. So that's how I got started. I had to basically have meeting after meeting after meeting with my uncle, to prove to him that I was willing and ready and motivated. And the reason why is because he kind of saw me as I played baseball growing up. He didn't really see me as like the business type, entrepreneurial type. And
yes.
so I really wanted to show him, or gain his respect to say, hey, you know what, I'm worth giving a shot. And the rest is kind of history from there. Yeah.
And you did it. You proved
Yeah,
him, right?
I did it. Yeah.
Well, actually, I noticed a lot of like baseball players and sport guys, they succeed in business. So
Yeah.
I think like this discipline, motivation, being competitive, all this, helps to grow, right?
Yep.
What do you think? Does it
Yeah, I
help you?
think I think learning that competitive edge and always knowing that there's somebody who wants to take your spot, there's somebody who wants to take your, customers, or somebody who wants to out service you, somebody who wants to outbid you. That competitive edge, it stays in there and it just becomes second nature, right?
Yes, yes, that's amazing. So you mentioned that you have worked with like over 100 clients. What strategies have you like been key to managing such a like big customer base?
Yeah, I think in the beginning I just made freight brokering my life. I mean, 10, 12, 13-hour days, just diving in, learning all I can, talking to customers. Um, One thing that I really liked that I did early in my career is I would talk to drivers for hours on end, learn from them, see what lanes they liked, seeing what the market was saying, just learning from the drivers because they're the ones that go everywhere. They're
Yes,
the ones that see everything, right? And so I was just diving in, investing, and learning from the drivers, just everything I could for the first 3 years, until I kind of understood the market, until I understood the West Coast, that sort of thing. But I think for sure is I responded right away. My service is good. I wouldn't let an email sit in my email for more than 3 minutes. I was responding right away,
yes,
and I think a lot of customers like that. I
that's
have a customer who they actually have their own trucking company as part of the group, but he uses me because they don't respond.
wow,
And
that's
so
interesting.
speed kills, right? Like they always
Yes,
say.
of course.
And that's one thing that I pride myself on is get back to the if there's an issue with paperwork or anything, you respond quick.
Yes.
Another way to manage clients like that is you have to get help. I have 6 employees. I started out with one, two, slowly, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I noticed I started noticing I wasn't able to service at a professional level anymore once I grew so much. So you have to, and I caught it too late. I kind of caught it to where I was trying to train and still trying to manage my business and everything. I caught it way too late. And so there was a little bit of pain there, like a little, a
Yes.
time of pain because of that. Um, but yeah, definitely training somebody to service your customers well, to respond, to understand what the goal is in this business is very helpful. So
Yes.
now all 6 of them understand the goal, they understand the process, they understand what the customers need, tracking this customer, that customer. And once you have that, it's just like the floodgates kind of open up, right? Especially for my time to do
Yes.
what's most beneficial for my time
Yes.
and
I
build
like
my team.
that.
Yeah.
Actually, I noticed that too. We have to train earlier. I think everyone goes through that process. That some point that you have to manage the customers, but at the same time you want to grow and you have to train, and it is really painful. But I think after every pain, you like experience something better. So
Yes.
that's amazing that you mentioned that. So you mentioned that you using your existing customers as one of the growth strategy,
Yeah.
and I really like it because this our existing customers are the customers who already like and trust us. So can you
Exactly.
elaborate on how you have built trust and increased business with current clients?
Yeah. I'm gonna get some water.
Sure.
My voice is clear up. Yeah, especially during the last 2 years when a lot of companies weren't onboarding new carriers or brokers. That I had to change that shift a little bit. Um, the responses in 23 and 24 for new customers, they just weren't there. So I said, okay, how do I continue to grow at a pace that I like? How do I continue to, you know, earn more income basically? And or even maintain income because there's every year you lose a little bit of business, just
Yes.
not sometimes they go out of sometimes I had a company go bankrupt and they were giving me 500 loads a year, right? So I have to make that up somehow.
Yes.
One thing, a strategy is just to get once you build the trust, and you can't do it too early. Once you build the trust with your client, then you start inching your way asking, what can I do out there that I'm not doing? Is there any if you see any avenues or if you see any lanes, you see that I do a good job here. I feel like and I know that I could do a good job there as well, or that plant
Yes.
or this plant, right?
Yep.
But you have to do it at the right time. You can't do it like
In the
when the trust
beginning.
isn't there because then it just makes you look,
Yes,
And,
you have
you know,
to do it when the trust is established. Yes.
exactly. And then
Mm-hmm.
then they test you out. Well, what I notice about a lot of shippers is they give you little tests here and there. They test
That's
you out, they
true.
test you out, they test you out. And when you can start winning on those little tests,
Mm-hmm.
that's when more come and more comes and more comes and more comes. So that's kind of what I would just get on the phone and say, hey, how's it going? What's your business like in 23, 24, 25? And what can we do to help? Are we doing everything we can? How much are you shipping per day? I'm not like we're asking deep questions here. How many
Yes.
orders is your plant shipping a day? 40? Okay, well, I'm only doing 3. I'm only doing 5. How do I get up to 8? How do I get up to 9, right?
Yes,
I know
slowly, right? And
those are kind
gradually.
of hard questions, but if the trust is there, it's just another conversation, you
That's
know?
true. Mm.
And so that was another strategy for me. A lot of these customers, they have a lot more work than we think, like a lot more than we think.
Yes.
And
Also,
so
they
they're
have connections, right?
yeah, and one thing about these, big shippers is they have plants everywhere. They have plants in Canada, they have plants in Mexico, they have plants in the
That's
East
true.
Coast, West Coast. I mean, so much going on, right?
Yes,
And for us to capture each a little bit of that business each time, that's what's going to grow into a big business.
that's true. Well, I have seen in some of your LinkedIn posts that your customer actually sent you a present for
Yeah.
Christmas, and I got somehow jealous because I always send customers gifts and
Yeah.
no one sent me a gift. So
Yeah.
tell me how you did that.
Well, this customer in particular, not every customer can afford to have a complex process. So there are customers that miss out on a lot of things, um, organization,
That's true.
timeliness. They just
Mm-hmm.
don't have they just don't have the manpower to be as organized as others, right? So that's where it falls on us as freight brokers sometimes to kind of be that extra hand. And
That's
so
true.
that's why you get the gifts like that. So in reality is I'm doing a little bit of their job.
Yes.
That's the thing, right?
That's
Some
yes.
customers I just get the orders, I have the trucks ready and it's done. It's easy. Some customers I'm having to make sure this bundle, this material, this there goes to that place. It's
Yes.
like it's
Yes.
a lot more time and extra effort. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
You are like their VA, right? You are their shipping manager part-time and everything in
Exactly.
between.
Exactly.
Accounting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
And
great.
so that honestly, that's the first time I've ever received a gift from a shipper. It's cool. I enjoy doing
Yes,
it.
it's
And
cool.
who
What
doesn't
did you
enjoy it?
get, by the way, if you it is not a secret?
Yeah, yeah. So, and they appreciate good service. And okay, so then the next part on that service part is knowing that you have the edge, knowing that your service is good, and then now starting to get paid for that.
Yes.
That's like the next level. Once you build the trust, once you build your service, once you build your process with that customer, then that's when you can actually start going after the profit. A lot of people start profit first. No,
Yes.
it's build value. Just it's like a normal saying, build value, then the money will come, and
Yes.
it's so true in this business as well.
So when you decide to approach the customer, what is your vetting process, right? So you kind of know that this is a customer that has big potential growth. Do you like as a revenue? Do you like check how many employees they have, or you just take a chance? Because sometimes you reach out to the customer and you don't know if they have so much business, and sometimes you think
Mhm.
that they have a big movement, but they don't, right? So how do
Yeah.
you approach that?
Honestly, I don't really. I mean, yes, you vet a little bit of everything you give. You see how they paid in the past. You do a credit check. There's the normal vetting stuff. But me personally, I like to try to attack. I've never really turned down an LTL or a reefer or a flatbed or a van. I just try to dive in a little bit of everything.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I've never really like, oh, you're not big enough. You only do one shipment a week. I've never turned them down. I've never turned anybody down like that.
Yes.
I always have an open mind to learn. You can learn through another customer what they're like, what their systems are.
That's true.
There's
And
customers
implement.
that yeah, there's customers that send orders through the bid. Every order is through a bid, and then other ones are rates are in the system. There's so much to learn through the process, right? Of each client, of each customer, that'll just make you service the other ones better. That'll make you service the next one better. And so I
That's
don't really turn down any conversation. I don't turn down any meeting. I don't turn down anything. So um, that's just how I've operated. And yeah, I mean, do I want the big customers? Do I want do I want the customers with
big
that ship
volume.
to 1,000 orders a day, and I get 20 of them? Of course, everybody, that's a dream, right? But it's not like that. It's how in reality is if a customer's shipping 50 orders a day, you'll maybe get 8 or 6 a day,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to spread the love, and they can't put all their eggs in one basket. It's
That's
the same
true.
for us as brokers. I'm not going to give one carrier all 40 loads a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not smart. You want to
Yes.
spread it out. You want to make sure the service is good, right? And
So
so
when you started, did you use your asset side of carrier
yes,
base? Yes?
that was really helpful in growing. When shippers see that you have assets, it makes it a lot easier
To
to
sell, right?
get
Yes, to
in, to
get in.
start,
I
to learn,
agree.
you know. And when you have a background like we had, we had big customers already. So what did I do? I went to all their other plants. I went to their Vegas, to their California, to their Texas, to their East Coast, right, to the Midwest, and I said, "Hey, we're already helping you in Washington. We're already helping you in Oregon.
Yes.
You see, we've done a good job. Give us a chance here. Give us a chance there." And that's where I came into Oasis, and I expanded everything kind of outside of the West, and that's how I started, right?
Yes, that's amazing. It happened to me too. I had this customer in South Carolina, but they also have other locations, like five, six locations. And
Yeah.
at some point, I was serving all of the locations. So that's true,
Wow.
you know. We
Yeah.
start somewhere and then we expand our territory. I like it.
Exactly.
And I agree with the fact that assets help a lot, even if it is like two, three trucks, you know,
Yes,
it helps
exactly.
you to get your feet in the door. So it is very helpful. Now let's talk about Vince, about the languages, because I know you speak English and Spanish. I also like speak English, Russian, and Armenian. So, and I found that it is really helpful. What do you think? Did it
Well,
allow you to connect like with drivers
yes.
better, with customers?
Yeah, so it's all about getting a little bit of the upper hand, right? And
Mm-hmm.
where I am based in the United States, the West Coast is really strong. A lot of the business and a lot of the owner operators here are Hispanic, where in the East Coast, they're not as much. A lot of the West Coast, there's a lot of Hispanics, and they have 1 to 10 trucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of large carriers here in the West like there is in the East Coast. Um, and since they're Hispanic, they speak Spanish. Their English is not good. So if I can communicate to basically a whole race, and that's basically giving me access to millions of trucks.
Yes.
As where if I didn't know Spanish as well or at all, I wouldn't be able to communicate to them at all. So you get
That's
a little
true.
bit of an upper hand. And I tell all my clients, I tell all my new shippers, I say, hey, look, I work with a lot of Hispanic companies, 1 truck to 5 trucks, and I manage them every day like if they're my own. I help them grow their business. I treat them like they're my own asset trucks, and this is why we can keep our rates, at a good level, because we manage them like they're our own. And
Mm-hmm.
when they hear things like that, they think, okay, wow, that's great. He's not only helping, their business grow, he's helping somebody else grow, and they're being honest about it. And people
Yes.
like the mission. Basically, they like a story. They
Yes.
like that sort of thing.
I
And so you
agree. I
just
like
be
it.
honest with them. I mean, not that I don't work with right every race, of course. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's helped me
To build
expand.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
expand, help me grow. I have a lot of family members that own trucks, and so I work with them,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. In the reefer business, especially Oasis in general, we have 6 agents to I think 6 or 7 agents, and a lot of them, they do reefer, van. Some with our family, some with are not. So it's a pretty good operation, and we like it. We
Yeah, I
like
like
helping
it.
small businesses out there grow their companies. We've seen a company go from 1 truck to 8 trucks in a matter of 3 years.
Yes.
You know, and
That's
so
amazing. I like it. You know, we, as you say, like it is a mission, right? Sometimes we
mhm.
just get caught up on our profit, but if we look in a bigger picture, I think
Yeah.
logistics will be in a better place, as far as the rates, because we all need to get our profit, but the
Yep.
carriers are the ones who are doing the job, they also
Yeah.
need to be profitable. So
Hmm.
that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
um, do you think like cultural understanding helps you working with carriers and customers in different, areas other than what you mentioned?
Um, like having
Yes,
close.
having that like cultural Hispanic background, like connecting with carriers. I'm sure it did, but like what would you like to add about it?
Um, I just think that it gets you a level of trust that most people can't get.
That's true. Yeah.
My dad works with me. He speaks fluent Spanish. He was born in Mexico, and a lot of the drivers gravitate towards him because they can communicate really well to him. They talk about everything. They talk about life. They have relationships,
Yes.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if there's the same order posted, they're gonna call my dad. Why? Because
They know
they're my
you're
friends.
done.
They can
Yes.
communicate, right? He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to feel uncomfortable asking my dad for the order because he can do it freely in his language, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's a little bit of a way to draw more carriers, to draw more business, to the ease of covering freight, right?
Yes,
So
I agree. Like that helped me a lot because
yeah,
sometimes when I get a call, I know from accent that they speak Russian.
yeah,
I say, when I speak English, it is
yeah,
kind of, oh, they like hesitate. And then I say, do you speak Russian? Yes. And we start talking Russian and
yeah,
the trust is built and
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I will book it, right? Because sometimes
exactly.
carriers has choice, right? It is not
Yeah,
you
of
are
course.
the only one who has a lot, right? There are other freight brokers, similar lanes, and maybe even better paying lots. But as you say, when you build that trust and there is some communication, even through language, it helps to build better connection with carriers. And I experience that a lot. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly.
So, Vince, what is one piece of advice you would give to anyone looking to succeed in freight brokerage if they are just starting out?
Um, Man, that is a hard one. There's a lot. I would say,
Give all of them.
um, I would say the biggest piece of advice, and it's gonna be really cliche, but just stay in the process, stay strong, keep going, don't give up. And then timing also is really key. Sometimes you can enter brokering at a not a good time, and it's not gonna work out. But
Yes.
don't be afraid to kind of dive back in when the time is ready. Timing is really important. There's a lot of brokers that I see that joined in the end of 2022, and they're not making it because before COVID, um, if the relationships were established, you just grew. And then during COVID, if you just built those relationships, they weren't established. So then that's when a lot of the shippers had to dial it down. They had to cut off, you know, some brokers, some carriers, and that, if you're a new carrier, a new broker, you're going to be off the list, right?
Yes.
And even I experienced that a little bit after COVID. Of course, everybody did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so timing is really key. Right now is not a bad time to enter because I think that market is gonna spike. It's going to continue to grow, and that sort of thing. I think another piece of advice is to get in front of these shippers' faces as much as you can. Calling and calling and calling can only get you so far, but trust is built in person. I feel like a lot more in person when you get in front of their face. You make
Yes.
the investment. Every time I go out and spend $3,000 or $4,000 to go to a new city and get in front of their face, you see the returns every time.
That's true.
There's not one time where I don't go on a trip and I don't make my money back within a year or some.
Yes, I
Um,
agree.
and then even with existing clients, let's just say you only have one client, just go and visit them once a year, every 6 months. Just make the effort. When you make a mistake in your business, which you're going to, they're going to remember that you came, you put in the effort, and they're
Yes,
not going to kick you out. They're not going to basically boot you. They're going to
I
say, hey, you know
agree.
what? I'm going to give him another chance. I really trust him. He's made an effort, and I like him, right? So you kind of build
Yes,
that extra connection, right?
I agree.
So that's another
So
one.
when you go, what do you take with you other than your business card? Do you take something like
Yeah, yeah.
present or
Always take,
gestures?
always take some gifts. Always take some mugs. Always take some hats. Always take some shirts. Always, It's like going over to your cousin's house. You don't show up empty. Bring some chips, you bring some pop,
Yes.
you bring some drinks, right? It's the same way. You don't show up empty-handed at all. But those are all just little things you learn, right? You grow. The thing is that nobody wants to pay like order the shirts, spend a little bit of money on marketing because in reality, that's what's really going to help you grow. That's what's really going to bring you more business. You can call, you can do all that, like I said, but when you give somebody a gift, whether it's little, it could be $50, $25, they
Mm-hmm.
feel a little happy. They get, they feel a certain way, right?
That's
And
true.
so when they're looking at two carriers or two brokers, how much easier is it going to be for them to click you when they see your mug sitting in front of them, right? Or your
Yes.
calendar, or that you just came and visited and got them a Starbucks gift card, or
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
So
I
that is
agree.
something that's been really successful for us. I'm at a point in my business now to where I hire my sister is my marketing manager. She
Mm-hmm.
helps me send out, all my gifts, all my brochures, all my calendars, all that sort of thing. So if you can get to that level right away, to where we send pizza to where it's really cold sometimes to help them
Yes.
out.
Oh, I love sending pizza because who
Yeah,
doesn't like pizza,
yeah,
especially during lunchtime, right?
yeah. And then I have a lot of customers in Montana, and it's like 5 degrees over there, zero. And for them to get a warm lunch on a Friday, it lights up their whole day, you know.
That's true.
And so it's just about doing the little things and the little sacrifices day by day are gonna come back. They're gonna come
Compound,
back.
right?
They're gonna come back.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
So
I
um,
like it. We are talking the same language, Vince. I
yeah,
like all of the, tips you're giving us.
yeah.
Hmm.
I would say when you're first starting out, you gotta be on your chair. You gotta be on your desk. You gotta be learning. You got do a lot on your customer's freight while you're listening to podcasts, while you're looking up YouTube videos. There's Dennis
Yes.
Brown. There's you. There's all these people out there that have a lot of knowledge, and you just
And
gotta
you
set
said
learn.
in the beginning, like, breathe the freight, right? That's how I was too.
Yeah,
Like, you have
yeah,
to breathe the freight, like 12, 14 hours, even more sometimes.
yeah. This is one of
Hmm.
those businesses that if you're not obsessed, you're not gonna really survive. You
Not gonna
have to
make it.
be
Yes,
obsessed. Now, obviously, you can overdo it. I've overdone it. You kind of have to take a step back because it can run your life, and you don't want that, right?
that's
But
true.
I would rather realize I have to take a step back than keep complaining about how I'm not stepping up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
No, I like it. You
and
are right.
so
That it sometimes can ruin some relationships, but
yeah,
as you
yeah,
say, you have to do that to understand that you have to step it back. Otherwise, you will not see what is out there, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 3 kids now, and so now I'm in a point of my life to where I want to create more memories with them, and I have the investments and the money, and I try to save as much as I can because I know freight brokering is not the most, how do I put it? It's not the most, it could be gone in 2 years. It can be gone in 5 years. I could
That's
lose one of my biggest clients tomorrow. You don't
mm-hmm.
know. It's really volatile. And because of that, my strategy is to kind of be tight and invest until I'm at a place where, okay, I can, relax a little bit.
Yes,
Freight brokering is not one of those things where you can kind of just go outlive your lifestyle because something
yes.
can happen, then you're really in trouble, you
That's
know?
true. I
And
like it, like being wise with the, incomes that you made, and I think you have done it really great, even from the beginning.
yeah,
And yes, as you say, you can lose it in one day, so it is,
yeah,
important to look
yeah.
a big picture. But I feel like, making in freight brokering, it teaches you so many skills that like after freight brokering, you can do any business
Oh
because
yeah,
I think
yeah,
this is one of the like difficult business models, but at the same time, low entry,
yeah,
barrier because you don't need like a college degree or some type of degrees, but it is challenging, right? If you
yeah.
make
Very.
it, then you can do any business, I feel.
Yeah, no, I love real estate, and I feel like if something ever happened with freight brokering, I would love to be a real estate agent and kind of go that route. And I feel like I'd do a really good job.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
But
yeah,
how do you manage stress, Vince? That has been one of my biggest like
yeah,
challenges because I got really stressed out. I don't know if it is just I am a female, that's why I am
yeah,
more like, emotional. But some days I would just cry, like arguing with, not customer, carrier, I would say.
yeah. Yeah. I think stress is kind of like one of those things. There's a price to pay for everything. When
Yeah,
you are working really hard, when you are managing a lot, you're paying a price. Whether it be your emotions, spending time with your family, that sort of thing. There's a price for everything.
yeah, I
There's a
agree.
cost of admission, right, for everything.
Mm-hmm.
For me to handle stress, I like to go outside. I like to go golfing. I like to go fishing. I like to go watch some movies. I
Nice.
like to just go out of the house and just not think about freight. I still have my phone there, but I'm not like at my computer staring at my
Yes.
emails, right? I'm doing something that brings me joy. Um, you
Mm-hmm.
know, my wife likes hiking. I don't really like hiking, but I want to start hiking more. That's another thing, where I could be an outlet for both of us.
Yes, in nature, right? Nature clears everything,
Yeah.
right?
And then I think another difficult thing is you're done with your freight, and then you got your kids. They come home from school, and then you gotta manage them.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's the thing. It just sometimes as a parent, we never get breaks, so we're just like, okay, well, how do we set this up to where we're not running out of gas every single week? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that's why I take Saturdays. I don't work Saturdays or Sundays. None of
That's
my shippers are
amazing.
open,
Yeah.
and I take those 2 days to really relax. And being
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic, everybody wants to have a party on Saturday and Sunday, and sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes you
That's
have
true.
to take a step back and say, I don't need to go to every party. You're not missing out on much. Just take a breath, spend time with your kids, with your wife, and just relax and clear
Yes.
your mind. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe that in Jesus, and that I can draw off of His strength and that sort of thing to keep me going, to keep me, um,
It does. It
sane,
actually does.
basically. Yeah.
I think that was one of my biggest,
Yeah.
success like secrets that I had this code. As you, I went in this like, okay, I need to make this happen. There is no other like a plan B. And I had this verse that it says, work for the Lord, not for man, because all rewards come from above. And I would have it on my computer, like reading, like not getting paid, don't know if I'm gonna get customer, but I would just have this hope that I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna get my rewards. And I think that's true, I got my reward. So there
Exactly.
is some higher, stuff that you have to believe to get going. And I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Thank you
that
so
extra,
much for
the extra,
sharing.
the extra strength, the extra motivation from the Lord, it's like a fresh breath, when you
Yes.
just put your faith. And another thing is, I've tried putting my faith and my trust in myself, and it does not work.
No, it
You
doesn't.
have
I
to,
agree.
you have to say, hey, you know what? God, you're on my side. You know what's best for me. Some days are going to be really hard, but you can take them as learning lessons, right?
Yes, yes.
And so I just say I say every day, God, give me wisdom. Help me today. Help me to be a good boss. Help me to be a good dad. Help me to be a good husband. Help me to be a good brother, son, everything.
Yes.
And I'm not perfect, and nobody's perfect. But if you can kind of draw on that and draw on the wisdom and the strength, that's really helpful too, right?
Yes, I actually have my prayer journal. Actually, I
Oh,
just remember this is my customer gave it to me. Actually,
oh
he
wow, that's
actually
awesome.
my customer also gave me something. But I
Amazing.
always write a prayer request and then I put the date and then I have to put the date where the prayer is answered and it is really interesting. I just started 2025, so I'm gonna
That's awesome.
check out when my prayers. But I also like whatever prayer I do, I write the script. So today I wrote that, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Yeah,
Joshua 1:9. So I like it,
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's awesome. I
Yes.
want to I want to hear, like, when your prayers are answered, you should put that on LinkedIn. I want to hear that. That's
Yes, I'm gonna share with you actually. I want to write down the date. I want to also see how long it takes because there is this concept that they say God is late, but He's always on time, right? Sometimes we think that, oh, why it is taking long? I want it now, but He
yeah,
does it on time. But for you, it takes like forever, right? So,
exactly. Yeah, there's some
yeah,
things that we're not ready for. That
yes,
we don't know
yes,
that. We don't know that,
we
but He
don't
knows.
know that. Yes, I
Exactly. So
agree.
God's timing is always the right timing, just like you said. Just like you said.
Yes. So I have also fun rapid fire freight brokering questions
Yeah.
that you have to answer in the end, Vince. Are you ready for
I'm ready.
that?
Yep.
Okay, so what is your most favorite word as a freight broker hearing from the shipper?
What's my favorite word?
Word, yes.
Uh, my favorite word is I sent it. I sent.
Yes, yes. Or
Just
book
straight up
it.
sent.
Book
Book.
it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The moment when he like agrees, you give a rate, you know that you're gonna make good profit and like, is he gonna agree or not? He said, yes, book it. That is my favorite word.
And just PO
Okay.
number. Here's the PO number.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
if you could rename the term cold call, what would you call it instead?
Call, call,
Cold
call.
call, yes. What would you say call, instead of cold call?
What is that? What is a call, call?
Cold call, like
Oh,
cold
cold
calling?
call. Sorry.
Yes.
If I could what?
Rename.
Rename cold call?
Yes.
First
Because it
impression.
has such a negative,
Yeah.
like energy. No one wants to do it. So what would you call it other than warm call? I don't accept warm
Yeah,
call
I
answer.
just say first impression.
First impression. Oh, I love it. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
first
I
impression.
love it.
Yeah.
So what is the funniest objection you have ever heard from the shipper?
Say it again?
Funniest objection you have ever
Oh, the
heard from
funniest,
a
the
shipper?
funniest,
Yes.
the funniest objection.
Or like maybe some funny story that
How do funny? I don't know.
freight
Sometimes,
brokering is not funny, right? I think
yeah.
carriers are more funny than
Well,
shippers.
one thing I laugh about a lot is when a customer when I give rates or some bids, they say, "Oh, sorry, we covered them for cheaper," and then an hour later they're calling me, and I just
Yes,
laugh about it. I say, "Hey, I could have told you at those
yes,
rates that it was gonna come back to you," and so we just laugh about it.
yes.
And as much as we want to train these customers that um, the cheapest is not the best, they have to go for it.
Sometimes they're gonna do it. I agree. Yes,
They have to go for the cheapest because it's in their best interest as far as
yes,
bottom line. And if it does work, here's the thing: is that if it does work out for those cheap carriers, then that's a plus for them. If it doesn't, then they understand. Like they already know in their mind that their service isn't amazing, but they
mm-hmm.
know that the service they get what they pay for, and they understand that. So
Yes.
I chuckle with them a lot and laugh about it with them a lot about
Then they call you back, right?
when they call me back. I say I knew you were gonna call me back, and so we laugh about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, Vince, thank you so much. It was an amazing conversation, and I think our audience will get a lot of value. And
Yes.
thank you, everyone who joined. This was
Yes.
your host, Lida, and your Bestie in Freight podcast. This episode will be in Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. So check it out very soon. It will be uploaded. And Vince, again, thank you so much for
Yeah, you're
joining,
welcome.
and
It's been a great
hopefully we
time.
will reconnect again.
Yes, I'm sure we'll
Hmm.
reconnect again. I had a really good time. Thank you, Lita.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Vince. Bye.
All right, see you later.